I can
See if you
speak.
can.
I can speak. Can you hear me? Because I'm unmuted now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Ah, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Me, it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
my
yeah.
volume. Sorry. So
And I'm
Mona's
speaking
going to
English.
introduce you. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Mona?
Yes. So good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us tonight in this special event with Eric. I just want to give a small introduction about Eric Reste. He has been with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the CBC Radio Canada, for more than 30 years. He's also a journalist and a producer. He has worked on the main television news and various current affairs programs with the French services. Throughout his career, he has always maintained a special interest in spirituality. For the past 35 years, he has been teaching the meditation and the philosophy offered by the Brahma Kumari, an international spiritual organization, for which he acts now as the national coordinator for the centers in Canada. So thank you very much, Eric. And I just want to say that if anyone has questions, probably Eric can take them by the end of the session, but you can type them in the chat and we will ask Eric to answer them. Thank you very much. And Eric, the ground is yours. Thank you very much. All the way from Canada. It's such an amazing opportunity to have the whole speakers from everywhere.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Mona. Thank you, Aruna, as well, for inviting me, and greetings to everyone. I'm here in Montreal, in Canada. And yes, this is amazing because I've been meant to fly in different parts of the world for many years, but never happened. So now, thanks to the Zoom world, we can just go everywhere within a second. So this is quite a beautiful opportunity, and I'm happy to share some thoughts with all of you. I hope it makes sense, and I hope you will enjoy this moment that we spend together. And I really like this topic about watching the diet of the mind, because I know one of the big concerns for a lot of people who are stuck at home at the moment for the past few weeks, and who would remain stuck at home for another few weeks, is to end up this lockdown with a big problem of being overweight and getting a lot of weight. And I know some people don't know what to do all day long, and the only way they find to keep themselves busy is to cook. And of course, if you cook all day long, then you may as well end up eating all day long. So diet will be on the mind of a lot of people, and it should be today in the mind of a lot of people. There would be a few thoughts maybe to introduce, the next 45 minutes. The first one is to really express all the love in the heart and the good wishes to all of you who may be listening at the moment with being impacted directly with this virus. And I know there are hundreds of thousands of people around the world who are really deeply suffering from this situation. I'm aware of the number of people who are dying every minute all around the world, and the impact it has on the families, and many people who are working in a hospital, healthcare workers, police officers, so many in the community are really impacted very deeply. So I think that I tend to be making jokes a lot and taking life not too seriously, but before I go with a lighter mood, I think in the next few minutes, I want to extend my good wishes and love and deep feeling of sympathy to any one of you who may be directly suffering by losing one of your close ones, your parents. I really hope that everyone is finding their own way through this very impactful crisis in the world, and I hope you're all safe and in good spirit despite what we're going through at the moment. And that being said, this moment is absolutely unique, I think, in history. The world has been put on a pause, on stopped. Even the fact we can communicate today, and I can have this amazing opportunity to reach out to you today, is because the world is on pause. And that pause, I think, could be used in a very beneficial way by looking at the self. And I know many people don't talk about it, but not just looking at the self, but paying really deep attention to what's happening in the self. And so we're going to focus on the diet of the mind and see exactly what are we eating mentally. And I'm sure you can all have a picture of what you've been eating in the past few days or few weeks. And you could make a little drawing somewhere with how many carrots and how many chickpeas and how much time you have eaten rice or whatever. You can know physically the content of your plate and what goes in your pots and pans in the kitchen. But I would really challenge all of us to define what have we been eating mentally, and what's the main kind of thoughts that we seem to enjoy and eat and in abundance. What are the thoughts that maybe we're lacking, which we're not eating enough? And so if we were to go into the kitchen of the consciousness and look at the mind and see, hey, mind, what are you cooking these days? What's happening? Are you healthy cooking, or are you cooking strange things? Are you getting so bored that you're really preparing new recipes that are not working? So what are we really eating mentally? And of course, the diet is something that is fashionable for so many years, and everybody wants from time to time to look at their physical diet. I think the world is saying at the moment to all of us, stop, think about it. And I don't know if in this lifespan, we're going to have another opportunity like this to be at home for so long, with so much time being given to us to pay attention to really what's going on in me, but also in the world. And I know there's an overabundance of information out there. As Mona mentioned, I've been working on television for the past 35 years almost. And I worked in a newsroom for many, many years. And even today, I'm reading a lot of news and a lot of articles. I watch a lot of stories. I produce myself documentaries. And I work at the moment on a documentary about how will the after never be like the before. So I'm digesting, eating, consuming a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas and words on the situation happening at the moment. But at the same time, I'm paying a lot of attention to nurture my spiritual consciousness. So I'm not totally contaminated or eating extra toxic thoughts that could affect my perception of the world. Because if I eat a lot of what I read and I don't pay attention to keeping a balance with other kind of thoughts, I might have a consciousness which will be really reflecting only what I'm reading in the newspaper, and I'm not sure this will be very, very healthy. So one of the first belief that I have is that my relationship to the world outside is determined by my inner world. And the state of my inner world, which really means my own state of mind, totally impacts the way I connect with the world outside. And ultimately, the purpose, I think, of the next few minutes will be for me to share with you how I really believe that changing the diet of the mind will directly impact the level of our happiness. And if we were to just have a happiness meter that we can just plug somewhere, maybe here or on your smile or on your wherever, and if you can just plug yourself with a little device that will measure your amount of happiness on a permanent basis, not just today or when something good happened, but in general, how happy are you? That happiness would probably be a sign of the state of mind and the kind of diet that we're using mentally. So I know that many of you have been meditating for a long time. Some of you might be more new on that particular journey. I also want to, at the start, to say I don't think I'm really much better than anybody else. I've been trying hard. I can say that. I've been trying hard for many, many years. I think some might have thought for a while I was a hopeless case and I would never make it through the meditation. I complained a few times to my senior, telling them that I thought Raj Yoga was not working because after meditating for so long, I was still waiting for the nirvana and the blissful moments and perfect enlightenment in my life. And I have to admit, I keep banging into walls from time to time, wondering, how come I'm spending every day with some moments in meditation? I'm trying to be a good person. Why am I still stuck with this thing? Why am I reacting to this one? Why am I so upset about this thing? Why am I getting angry again about that one? And I really even myself doubted sometimes, many times, my diet and thought, I know what I should be eating, but okay, if I'm honest, I'm not eating properly all the time mentally. Okay, then that's probably why I'm not feeling so good at the moment. So I will never thank enough all my friends on this journey that have been around me for so many years, who never gave up hope on me, and who from time to time sat with me in a corner and uplifted my mind, with some kind of, elevated thoughts, different kind of thinking, and really helped me to move forward. Most of what I'm going to share at the moment is not the fruit of my own personal deep wisdom. I learned a lot from the Brahma Kumaris community. I've joined the Brahma Kumaris when I was 21 years old, and I was fairly young and restless and reckless, angry and annoyed at the world, and revolutionary in my soul, trying to find purpose in my life. And I discovered a community of incredible people. Many became my very close friends. Many became my teachers. Many became my sisters. Many became my brothers. And some became my teachers by pushing my buttons all the time. Thank you, teachers. And we'll never thank them enough for making me upset, angry, and disillusioned and disheartened. They made me progress a lot. So they are now teachers, but also very good friends. So all that to say that, what I want to share with you is the fruit of many years of study in the Brahma Kumaris community. They teach Raj Yoga philosophy and meditation. And I'm grateful for having had the chance to have a structure to help me to move forward in my life. And my close friends today keep telling me, Eric, don't leave the Brahma Kumaris. They know what I would be without that structure and that support. And they know how I could become a little bit bad boy again. So I think they're encouraging me to continue. So hopefully it's working for me. Hopefully it may work also for you. I know many of you are already very aware and probably more brilliant than I am in articulating some of these thoughts. But I thought we can share for a few minutes the content of our plates and see what we're eating and see if we want to improve our diet. And honestly, I think that even if we've been meditating for 40 years or 50 years or 60 years, we can always improve to a certain percentage, at a certain level, the quality of our thoughts. And I really, really believe that certain thoughts, tiny little thoughts, can work as a stepping stone or as a how to call it, a diving board, maybe something like that, that you can jump on and take a big jump to push you into a new consciousness. One thing for me that was an entertaining moment was, my ego can take a lot of space in my life from time to time. And I was in a retreat center, and the main speaker was a person that I really, really enjoy and love dearly. And I really wanted to listen to her lecture. So I sat in the first row, and I came before time with my notebook, and I was ready for, the opening of my third eye for another time. And so just waiting and waiting, and suddenly the MC came along and said, "We're sorry, but the speaker cannot come today. She's not feeling well. So instead, there will be this person who will, at the last minute, share some thoughts." I was on the first row, so I felt, whoops, and that person I'm going to share with us now is a good friend of mine, but I'm not sure I'm interested in listening to her. And she said, "Oh, I'm going to present to you a PowerPoint." And I have about a skin allergy to PowerPoints usually. I don't like PowerPoints. I find them usually very boring and too brain oriented. I don't do well with PowerPoints. And I thought, oh, well, here's my friend going to show me a PowerPoint. I'm going to be terribly bored for the next 2 hours. What I do? Can I just leave, pretend I'm going to the washroom and never come back? So I got stuck right there in front of that PowerPoint. So no choice, but, well, listen. And my ego was, you have nothing to learn. You know all this stuff. This is back to basic. You don't like PowerPoint. You're wasting your time. I was just not, in a good mood. And just within a few minutes, I don't know how it happened, but she started to share a few thoughts about the quality of our thoughts. And something along the fact that it's not only negative thoughts that could really hurt you, but just thoughts that you don't even recognize as being toxic. But they are toxic, and they're just thoughts like, I don't like this. And I never thought there was something wrong by saying, I don't like something like this, until she, with her very nice PowerPoint, which I actually enjoyed, and her beautiful PowerPoint showed me that, yeah, I don't like this, could attract that same situation even more. So if you keep saying, I don't like this, actually, maybe you don't like it, but you're actually increasing the presence of that very same thing you don't like, which will probably make it even more present in your life because you keep focusing on it on a negative way by disguising it with nice spiritual makeup as, well, I don't like this. So by saying I don't like PowerPoint, probably I tried to do a few more PowerPoints. So, and she went into the depth of these kind of thoughts that I never suspected to be responsible for my little misery in a way. And one of them was when she was sharing about, sometimes you just state something like, I don't have time. And she said, yes, it's true, you don't have time. But by saying you don't have time, you are making that reality stronger. So next time, you will have even less time. And I know I've shared that with some of my good friends many times, but to me, it was like a revolutionary moment. I really have to admit, I took so much notes in front of that PowerPoint with that person that I thought would have nothing to teach me. And she turned out to be a key moment in my spiritual journey that I will never forget. So I went back to work, and I was working in the newsroom at the time. And my mantra in the newsroom used to be I was coordinating the main news show, so which is quite, to be honest, quite stressful. It's the evening news show, which is a big show on a French television, 10 o'clock at night. So a lot of pressure, a lot of impact. I mean, you can't make a mistake in these kind of things. And very, very busy. I mean, the whole day, I'm usually in the office or on the ground, and it's nonstop. So my mantra used to be when people would say, oh, Eric, do you have a minute? And my mantra was always to be positive. I would always say, I have 30 seconds. But what I really meant, and that's what I said in my head, I don't have time. I don't have time. So be quick, be short. I don't have a minute. I have 30 seconds. And after this amazing PowerPoint, I came back to the newsroom and I thought, this is not the right thought. No, it should be, I have all the time in the world. So I started telling all the co-workers when they were coming to my office, Harry, do you have just 1 minute? And I want to ask you something. And I was like, yeah, come, I have all the time in the world. And of course, they would not believe me. They would say, no, I know you don't have all time in the world. But I say, yes, sit whatever time you need, it's fine. And to be very honest with you, it worked like a miracle, like really, really miracle. Unfortunately, it doesn't work all the time. Now I have to find new mantras. But at that time, it really changed. And still today, I go back to that kind of thought from time to time to change my space, my mental space. So this is an example of one thought, I don't have time, which we may not identify as being a bad thought, but it's a toxic food that really makes me unhealthy in my relationship with time. And having the thought, I have all the time in the world, creates that reality. And it really did, and still today, now my new mantra, to be honest with you, is not I have all the time in the world, is I can do everything. And when I find I'm being asked to do a lot of things, my reaction would be, well, I can't do everything. And I thought, why am I saying this? Why don't I say I can do everything? And this disarmed this kind of bomb, that's mine, that will say to you, no, you can't do everything. And I say, yeah, I can do everything. And things happen. And those things that are not necessary are canceled by themselves. So I find that, today we have this opportunity that may never come again. Look at the self and say, what's my diet? And I think we have two kind of foods, and I know time will be too short again for only in the next 45 minutes. I have so many ideas I'd like to share, but one thing to me is just a recognition of what is a healthy mental food and what is a toxic mental food. And when we say, well, checking the diet of the mind, first of all, the mind, we have to agree a little bit on the semantic. What are we talking about? And for me, the mind is very simple. It's my inner organ responsible for the creation of thoughts and feelings. A little bit like I know physically I have lungs, I have a heart, I have brain, different organs with different function. The mind is the function that is responsible for my thoughts and my feelings. So the mind always think and always feel something. And thoughts comes with feelings. If I think of something I like, feeling is positive. If I think of something I don't like, feeling will be negative. So thoughts and feelings are intertwined. They can't be really dissociated. They're always combined together. But we don't know which one creates which. Because sometimes a feeling creates a thought, and sometimes a thought creates a feeling. So we're caught with these thoughts, feelings, always percolating in the self, always boiling in the self or steaming in the self, cooking in the self, basically. And the question is, do we have really control over the kind of thoughts we're putting into the big pot of the soul and that we're cooking on a daily basis? Can I choose different kind of thoughts? Well, my experience for many years is that yes and no. I can try, and sometimes I'm successful, but other days, honestly, it's just out of control. The volcano erupts. I know I should not have those kind of thoughts. I know I should not have this kind of feeling towards a person, but it's beyond me. It just explodes, it erupts, comes out. And then I'm stuck with, well, what do I do with it? How do I respond to it? And basically, I find that the thoughts are very simple. We have thoughts for the self, this kind of conversation we have with the self all the time, like crazy people. I think if you were to put a speaker on your head, if we were to walk around, people have earplugs and they listen to what's in their phone at the moment. But imagine that you are a living, a living thinking person with speakers plugged into your brain, projecting the sound of your thoughts. That would be very entertaining for the people to listen. What are you chatting about all day long in your mind? I'm not sure it would be a very good radio station people would want to tune in. I'm not even sure I would want to listen really consciously to every thought I'm creating. But we are creating a little chat with the self, a conversation with the self on a permanent basis. Sometimes we have conversation with other people in our head, and we keep arguing or talking to someone invisible, recreating the scene. And then we do like a little video editing. We rewind the situation, listen to what the person told me, try to change my, my sentence or my replica, what I said, and then move it fast forward. I should say that next time. And we go with crazy little scenarios, writing, I don't know what kind of fantasy in our head, chatting with invisible people. And some are good, some are just totally wasted, and some are quite toxic, very negative. Sometimes thoughts we have are inspiration thoughts, thoughts that really are kind of an inspiration. They come like poetic thoughts, artistic thoughts, thoughts of amazement. And we really wonder, where are those thoughts coming from? And then there are thoughts that are being injected into our head by other people, by TV, by the world outside. So these are the kind of, if you want, supplies that we work with in our supermarket, in which we have to select what kind of thoughts I'm going to use in my spiritual diet, in my mental diet. And that's where I find it's good to dissociate healthy thoughts from toxic thoughts. And some of these negative thoughts, of course, they come with feelings that are negative. And there's a lot of thoughts, for example, that we don't recognize immediately as being toxic. All the don'ts, won't, can't, will not, should not. Very negative thoughts. I won't, I will not, I can't. They are real. You know, if somebody say, "Can you come tomorrow?" and you say, "No, I cannot come tomorrow." Of course, it's not a negative thought, it's the reality. But the other kind of don'ts and won'ts and talk with, you know, don't do this, don't do that, I don't like this, I don't want that. Anger expresses itself a lot with don't. Despair, hopelessness, lack of courage express itself with cannot, I can't. Kind of resistance, stubbornness, ego, won't, I will not, I won't. So if we think about it, these are very specific thoughts that we use all the time. And the challenge I would propose for myself also, and for all of us, are we willing to change those thoughts and use something else? Why not? I'll try. Yeah, I can. Yes, I can. With some help, I'm sure I can succeed. There's no reason why I should not be able to. There's so many other ways of articulating a reaction to a situation. And it's just we don't take time to learn about these little things. And that's where I find meditation is very useful, because meditation is just taking time to listen to the mind and to engage into a very positive conversation with the mind, and to say to the mind, what have you been thinking lately? You look so bad. You look so pale. You look like a little dry raisin, you know, just so shrunk. You don't look very healthy. What's wrong with you? What happened to you? And we know very well the answer. If you meditate and do a little doctor appointment with yourself and put your little tools to measure the pulse and the emotion and the state of your mind, you'll find that it's easy to trace the toxicity of the mind, where it went wrong, where the mind started to have negative feelings, negative thoughts, usually towards a reaction of a person or a situation, or just self-induced. Very good in producing everything is okay, the weather is great, people are nice, I have good friends, my family is good. Just let's spoil my head just by myself, with nobody else. And then we create those weird thoughts about not being able to, not being good enough, not conversing with the self the way we want other people to converse with us. I know in relationships, when your partner starts every day to tell you how wrong you're doing things and how bad you are, there is a day when you tell your partner, you know, can you stop always picking on me? You're always picking on me. We say, you know, if you love someone, you will see their qualities. If you hate someone, you'll see their defects. Now, what about myself? And I know it's a cliche expression to love the self. I don't personally engage in that discussion with me. I'm not there yet. I find I'm still trying just to bear with myself and to have a decent relationship with myself. But I do look at my thoughts sometimes, and I wonder when I talk to myself, hey, Eric, are you kind to yourself? Where is your self-esteem? Let's say I decide tomorrow I'm going to meditate at 6 in the morning. Let's say you slept through, okay, you start meditating at 6:30. You can tell yourself, oh, I'm so lazy, I didn't wake up and it's so bad. Every time it happens, that means you are mad at yourself. You're angry with yourself, or you are negative with yourself. Okay, it's true. I missed the call, I missed the alarm, I missed the objective, but I meditated at 6:30 instead of 6. Can I tell myself, well, I mean, you had good intention and you'll do better tomorrow. You'll do good day after. Maybe you needed rest. And I find that, creating new dialogues with the self is something that was for me the second big uh, revelation, if you want. The first one was about this PowerPoint that I mentioned to you earlier, but the second one was really about that. When one day I started to listen to the conversation I was having with myself deeply and realizing I was not talking to myself very kindly. As soon as I speak to other people, I'm very kind, I'm very courteous, I'm very sweet and loving. I know how to do that very well with other people. But I was really wondering, Eric, why are you not talking like that to yourself? Why you keep banging on yourself all the time? You didn't do it right. You see, you didn't make it the right way, or you were late again, or you didn't say that, or you didn't act like this. Oh, you see, your ego came out again, and you're such a big ego person. Why am I always um, correcting myself, reproaching things to myself, lowering myself? And I realized that this is not a very, if I was to be in love with myself, I should change. I should have a relationship therapist somewhere and go as a bipolar person, bring my two characters in front of a specialist and say, I think they're not talking to each other properly. And so, since I don't have the money to go for a specialist like this, I thought I can do it myself. And engaging in a new conversation with the self was kind of a very refreshing, really, really refreshing. And just catching the self on a regular basis when I hear my mind speaking to the self in a negative way. Okay, maybe you're right, but can you say it differently? Can you articulate the thoughts for the self in a more refined, sophisticated way? Can I recreate a sense of, I would say, nobility maybe in my conversation with myself? Can I have elevated conversation with myself? Can I learn to tell myself every day, at least 5 times, something good? You did well today. I liked the way you responded to that person. I think it was very respectful. You did very well. It's not blowing up my ego. I don't feel at all when I'm doing this that I'm feeding my ego. My ego is fed by arrogance, vanity, selfishness, comparison with someone else, judgment. This will feed my ego. Not when I say to myself, Eric, you did something good. It was a nice thing to do, and you did very respectfully, and that's the way you should keep doing it. I don't feel I'm increasing my ego at the time, but I'm increasing my self-esteem. I'm nurturing my self-esteem. And if I have negative thoughts for other people, oh, why did they do this like this? They shouldn't do like that. I told them and they did it wrong. This kind of thoughts. Okay, you told them they did wrong. Now, what is the other way of thinking? That maybe I didn't say it properly. How can I say it more in a better way that I give them the feeling that they should be paying more attention, or why would they not understand what I'm trying to say? Either I didn't say it properly, or they're not ready to hear certain things. Maybe they're very busy. So how to think differently than just the way I normally think. So these kind of change of diet is not very, very easy. Whoever tells you meditation is very easy and don't worry, you'll reach nirvana and blissful moment within a second. Good. I mean, if it works, give me their phone number and Zoom address. I'll go for it. For the last many decades, my journey has been one where confronting the self is not always very, very pleasant. If I want to have a healthy diet, I also need to have a healthy pot. in which I'm going to cook. If you want to cook a nice soup, I'm sure you use a clean pot. You don't use the pot that hasn't been washed from that hasn't been washed for the past 3 months, and just add new ingredients and boil it. I mean, that would be disgusting. I felt that when I came to the spiritual community, my inner pot was really, really dirty. I mean, it was filled with old stuff from so many, I don't know, births, how many ages, how many years, accumulation of frustration, of negativity, of bad tendencies, anger, ego, despair, whatever you want to call it. There was a lot of toxic food in my conscience. And yes, we were told, why do you need to change your diet? Because changing diet is part of the process of cleaning the pot. By changing the nature of your food, it would change finally the content, which is the awareness, the consciousness, the bigger part of the self, which is not just thinking and feeling, but which is becoming me, my nature, my existence, my life. And so change of diet, why? Because it's contributing to the whole of my being, the holistic part of my being. And so changing my diet became for me a discovery about, okay, but what will happen if I let my mind be very pure, very positive over a long period of time? One thing that we see today, which is incredible, and I'm sure you've seen it, is in Italy, in Venice. How do you say in English? Venice? Venice in French, Venice probably in English. The channel, the water has become clean like never before. The quality of the air in, I have a Zoom message. I don't know if I should pay attention to that. I'll disregard it. The quality of the air, I mean, from Pakistan or India, when they can see the Himalaya, which was not visible for so long. Do we have the slightest clue of what will happen in our head when we stop polluting it? Do we have even an idea of what we're going to see? And to be very honest with you, I had, like I said, many teachers, friends, masters who told me, yeah, you'll see there will be, when you meditate well, you'll experience something wonderful, happiness, bliss, this relationship. I was getting the sale pitch many, many times. And I was told, it will be there, it will happen. This is the consequences. But to be honest with you, I never saw it until I made like what they call breakthrough. And it happened. That's why the journey, even though I say that for me, the journey has been a lot of, ups and downs and trials and errors and big highs and big lows. But the journey is amazing, because when we go through these breakthrough, it's incredible that this is my own effort, my true nature, my true self, who succeeded in changing my thought pattern and seeing suddenly scenery that I never saw before. And that scenery is about me, is about the world, is about my relationship to the world, is about the people in my life. And that new way of seeing things is just incredible. And lately I had a lot of these breakthrough. And because also now we are stopping a lot and thinking differently, in the Brahma Kumaris community, we do a lot of very intensive programs at the moment, every night, sitting for 2 hours, thinking, listening to all these lectures on Zoom, our friends sharing their thoughts. So it's like boiling a little bit harder than usual. And it created its own breakthrough. And in the same way that a whole big mountain that was right in front of you, but that you couldn't see it because of the clouds and the dust and the pollution. Well, imagine what happens if we stop polluting the mind, if we stop creating those toxic foods for the mind. What will be the changes? They say that in the liver, if you stop consuming toxic food, alcohol and others, it takes 400 days for the cells of the liver to rejuvenate. I don't know, I read it quickly, I may be wrong. But the concept applies to the conscience. It takes a long time for the conscience to change, to get free of this pollution, so it can start to see. I say it takes a long time, but at the same time, just within a few weeks, the world has changed. I've seen wolves coming back to the cities, or I don't know, deers crossing highways at the moment, or not highways, but big streets in downtown. Few weeks when we stopped the pollution and nature responds immediately. Imagine what happens when we stop the mind from these polluted, toxic thoughts. So I think it's good to develop new thoughts, and the comparison with the food is very interesting because the body needs very specific food. So let's think about how to change thoughts for the self, new thoughts for the self, thoughts that come from an inspiration based on our faith. Some who believe in God or in life, in nature, in the cosmos, regardless how you connect to something beyond the self, bigger than the self. That also is something we can explore and connect more, generate more thoughts on that level. Thoughts that we entertain for the world, that we keep having for the world. Can we change those thoughts? Can we create more benevolent thoughts for the world? Thoughts for other people, specific people, those people I don't like. Can I change my thoughts? Can I create new thoughts about those people? So these kind of category of thoughts, if we change them, I really believe that the space of our scenery in our conscience will change dramatically. And the result will be happiness. And not just happiness, but I find that, yes, the level of happiness rises, but the sense of inner power, inner strength, my ability to wake up in the morning and be filled with enthusiasm and project and say, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yeah, this is positive. Yes, okay, I can do this. And being enthusiastic about many things because we have the energy. Thoughts, and again, I think I'll be finishing in a minute, but there's so much to say about thought. But thought basically is another angle we could take is energy. And that energy, how much are we really taking advantage of it? So that energy of the mind, if we just increase it, what is not possible? So anyway, I don't want to, I know these are basic concepts. Maybe many of you probably won't learn anything through these thoughts, but I always find it's good to revise anyway the concept, the basic concepts of a healthy diet. The doctors have to tell us how many times that to eat an apple every day is good, right? How many times do we need to tell people drink a lot of water? So maybe I'm just rephrasing something we all know very well. Pay attention to what we eat mentally. Have faith that by increasing the quality of our mental diet, we'll be much more happy, much stronger, much more healthy. And yes, it comes down to those tiny little thoughts that we didn't pay attention to before. So any form of unease, unhappiness, unwell-being, any kind of wrong feelings or bad feelings inside, origin somewhere from a little thought that we didn't see, and we use it again and again and again. And that seed, that little thought, produce that rotten apple, which we should not eat normally, but keeps happening in our plate. So I hope you have a little smile on your face or something, or there may be questions. I'm not reading at the same time the chat. I'm told that maybe Mona or someone will help me with this and say if there are maybe questions you want me to talk about.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. That was wonderful. I think we will very much now watch the diet more as we are eating as well. So yeah, a few questions. The first question was, how can we eliminate the idea of fears from our minds, as fear could stop our happiness? So again, the feeling of fear.
Well, I totally relate to that question because, in a very simple way, even for me, I thought, yeah, I don't have big fears, or I worked on it, learned about it. And I came back from India in March, I think March 6th. And just at the time when everything was becoming quite crazy, actually, and I left India a bit earlier. seeing happening, and because I'm also with television industry, I thought, well, I don't know, I need to be healthy and they're on time if they need us or something. So I took the plane and I saw everybody with a mask. I put a mask myself, which I never did in my life. And I observed my mind suddenly picking up fear of the other, of the situation, of the world, and fear that I would create on my own, like as if there was not enough given to me by outside. I came back home and I felt should be okay. But then the next day I started to have the symptoms of a cold. And to be honest with you, I mean, I could see being in a crossroad with a few boards, you know, extreme fear, panic, and crazy life this way, moderate fear this way, um, moderate wisdom this way, or highest form of wisdom this way. And I was there at the crossroads, sorry, thinking, whoa, I was pulled in all the different pathways. I knew which pathway, what each pathways was offering me. And the one about big fear was there because, yes, I mean, catching the virus was definitely a fear, but I was thinking, okay, I can probably go through. What if I become patient? What if I'm the one who came earlier, brought the virus, and by not being attentive enough or paying attention, what if I give it to so many people? And what if in 3 months in Montreal, we can say, well, there's so many 100 people died, most of them connected to one case of a little unconscious person who came back from India and brought it. The day before I came back to Montreal, in the news was there in Montreal that one person coming back from India has tested positive and now is in quarantine. So my mind started to go a little bit funny, you know, with, whoa, no, it's okay. And so every time I was swallowing and having a hard time to swallow, my fear was growing. And every time I would feel, you know, would I get fever? Would I get cough? So I called the number they were giving us. It was before everything started. So people will answer and say, no, as long as you've had a fever and coughing, you may be just getting a cold. But still, you know, the thought was there. So where is fear coming from? To me was how to sort out information. Fear, in my understanding, is just a toxic reaction to my inability to process information. I'm getting an information and I'm processing it with feelings or with thoughts, and I can't be blamed. I know this is a normal attitude, but that normal attitude is just a symptom for not having been able to learn to process information differently. And spiritual journey, and that's why I'm saying it's not so easy sometimes, but spiritual journey teaches us, okay, you'll be exposed to dramatic situations on a regular basis. How are you going to process that information? And so the antidote to fear is knowledge, understanding, education. That's why they do in a bigger community. They try to calm down the population by giving education. So whatever the situation is, little, big, I have to tell myself, okay, what am I supposed to learn in this thing? What is the information I need to respond to that situation objectively? So I have to activate my feeling for a few moments. And this is why we meditate, to go into meditation and say for a moment, hey mind, stop the fear just for a moment. You'll go back to your fear later. Just for a moment, you have a safe environment. Don't create that fear, but think, what information do I need? A higher thought is I'm not alone. Fear comes from thinking very often we're alone in a situation. For me, and I know a lot of people turn to God when something is wrong. Every time a big thing happens, even those who are the most atheist people in the world, they will all say the same thing. Oh my God. This is the most used expression at the time of pain, at the time of fear. People, oh my God. So I'm not advocating just a blind faith. I'm advocating I'm not alone. I'm not alone in that situation. I have access to a higher energy, my conscience, or God, if you believe in God. there is some resource available that will help me to go through. So I would say about those two things: information, ideas, rational thoughts. What do I have to learn? And I'm not alone. Fear is a topic for more than an hour of discussion, but I'll keep it short so we can have another question. I hope it helps a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. I mean, connected to the same question, what is the fine line between fear and caution? Sometimes, yes, you don't want to, feel the feeling of fear, but you also have to be cautioned, right?
Well, you go through the border, and the border is called wisdom. The border of wisdom is how to always entertain in the self. I'm using the word entertain, I don't know if it's the right word, but to always nurture, in the sense of a diet, a safe stock of wise information. We can call it knowledge, wisdom. Because when we go through the emotion, what usually happens is that there's a little sparkle in our head that makes us a little bit dummy, a little bit stupid, honestly, or limited. So it's like we're canceling, because of the sparkle of emotion, we're canceling the access to rational information, common sense, wisdom, call it the way you want it. And so for me, when I look at, balancing between my emotional side, which is sometimes a warning, because fear may also tell me, warning, 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 pay attention, there's something going on. I just have to transform that fear into a sense of self-confidence, self-trust, courage, assertiveness, resilience, but also use the information, which is very good knowledge. And that's why I really like the philosophy in the Brahma Kumaris. For me, it's a structure. Everyone, I'm sure, has access to their own philosophy, whichever faith you belong to, whichever current of thoughts you like to read or whatever. That's the time. If you want to be cautious, it's to use what are the rational thoughts that I need. And it could be a thought like, I'll pay attention to it. I'll be very careful. Careful is very good, but caring is complementary also to being careful. So yes, we acknowledge the danger, we acknowledge the reality, but we add to that reality, what is my inner strength? What are my virtues? What are my qualities that will help me to respond to it with cautious, but not with fear?
Yes, beautiful. Another question is sometimes if I am positive, but people around me are negative, how can I not get influenced by people who are around me that are negative? As I'm
Yeah, well,
practicing, I'm watching my diet, I'm becoming more positive. But this is a very common question.
how much do you like to be a unique individual? How much do we want to be one that stands out of millions? How much do we want to be a unique? How much do you want to be called the pearl in the oyster? How much do we want to be called the flower in the desert? How much do we want to be called this rainbow in the rain? I'm joking a little bit, but honestly, my motivation when things go so wrong, and in a newsroom you get a lot of negative ideas and thoughts, and to maintain your positivity, it's not easy. Of course it's not, but it's always about who I want to be. It's not I'm going to be positive, I'm not going to go into the negative. It's like, having a tsunami and coming with your little glass saying, oh, okay, I'm going to help removing the water. It's not going to work. Our vibration has to be different. We want to feel we're working on different kind of frequency, different level of energy. I come from a place in France called Brittany, small Brittany, and that's by the coast. So the main landmarks in Brittany are the lighthouses. And one of my favorite moments in my memories is going, even at night, having a walk when there was a storm, wind, big waves. Imagine the sound of the wind, by the ocean, and the waves splashing against the rocks, and walking by a little kind of dock like this towards the lighthouse. And being close to the lighthouse, the feeling of security and peace. For a strange reason, that kind of peace, I remember being in there with, I used to take the dogs with me. I used to like that spot. And I used to admire this lighthouse, always thinking you're saving life in the storm. So reacting to abundance of negativity is not about counteracting negativity, it's about offering light, about offering something completely different. For me, what I always felt in the newsroom was, or even in life in the same newsroom, but the big world is actually even more scary than the newsroom. But my reaction has often been, don't respond on the same level of energy. It's not because they give me negativity, I have to counter with positivity, move totally beyond. One of our main inspiration person in New York told me one day, she didn't know how to answer me a similar question like that. I said, yeah, but I'm trying, but they're all thinking like this and doing like that. She didn't know what to say, so she said, then Eric, just see the light, go with the light, and those who see the light will follow you. If they don't, there's nothing else you can do. So it freed me from the feeling I was responsible for other people's negativity or positivity. But it also taught me, don't work on that same level, move totally beyond. See yourself as the pearl in the oyster or the flower in the desert. But the frequency of my consciousness should go one step higher. And then positivity will not be a problem, because I will not try to be positive. I will focus on something much higher than positive, negative. I'll focus on being a lighthouse in a storm and enjoying it and thinking I'm saving lives.
Very nice. So there are a few other questions. I hope you're okay to take them.
Are there still people online, or is everybody gone?
Okay, so when you mentioned at the beginning about emotions and thoughts, the question it's easy to say but difficult to do, to control our emotions. So any easy recipe, any antidote?
You're right. That's what we should share. Recipes. I forgot about it. I thought about it this morning. I thought, yeah, we should share recipes. Yeah, definitely.
The next time.
Less oil, less salt, less chili powder. Sorry, were you adding something, Mona?
No, I was just saying, I mean, do you have any thoughts on that, how to control our emotions? That was
Yes. Well, you may find it very simplistic answer. I'm sorry for that, but meditation. Honestly, that's why I meditate. If I don't meditate, to be very honest with you, my feelings or my emotions would really get out of control. Honestly, I mean, I try not to meditate for a while, either by laziness or by despair or by stubbornness or by my ego. And I did that, a few times when I decided I'm okay, I'm fine, and I reduced my meditation time. For me, there's no secret. As soon as I reduce my times in meditation, I can tell right after that my level of impatience increases again, my intolerance, my mood, my emotions start to vibrate differently, honestly. Meditation to me is very much it's like taking a bath, or, if you were to ask me, sometimes it's hard to avoid smelling very strong. I would only tell you, yeah, but when was the last time you took a shower? And you might say, yeah, that's true. I didn't take a shower for 3 months. Well, that will help, take a shower. I'm joking. But yeah, if I don't meditate, it's like I'm not washing the soul. And so the little fermented residue of whatever I went through will grow, and it will amplify my emotions. So when the emotion explodes, it's very difficult to put a lid on it and say, no, don't be angry, don't be scared, don't be negative. It's a bit late. When that emotion erupts, that's a little bit late. And if you try to meditate, you won't be able to meditate at that time. So it's too late to meditate. Meditation is prevention medicine for these kind of emotions to reduce on the long-term period. So when the emotion blasts like this and goes crazy, for me, what I do, the little trick I do sometimes is I create a trial. I don't know, some of you might think I'm crazy, but I'm taking help, right? I have my friends helping me. But what I do is that I create a tribunal. Honestly, that's what I do. And I say, okay, you angry? Why are you angry? So I tell my anger, ask your lawyer to plea your case. And so I put in my head, honestly, that's what I do. I tell anger, speak. I give you 15 minutes. Go crazy. Go in your rage. Yell loudly in my head, why are you angry? And the judge asks question, okay, he did that wrong. Is that true? Yeah. Do you have to prove? Let anger speak loudly. Let it erupt. It's out anyway. Don't put a lid on it. That would be my advice. Don't put a lid on it. But then, in the trial, you bring the other defense, the defense party there with his lawyer, and you say, now, peace. Do you have something to say? Now you give a voice to the other party. And then I give voice, and then after, honestly, shouting in my head for 10 minutes, I'm tired. So usually I'm running out of anger. So when I tell peace, give me your version, my anger is like that on a seat and ready to take a break. So peace has a little chance to say something. And I tell peace, what do you advise? And you know very well in your conscience what that peace wants to say. But we don't give a chance to peace. That's the name of the song, right? Give peace a chance. Well, give peace a chance. If fear comes up, courage should show up at the tribunal and ask courage, what do you have to say? What's your defense? So honestly, that's one thing I've been using as a trick very often. I found because when I was younger, my ego was a constant volcano erupting all the time, lust, anger, everything was just boiling in me. So I couldn't put a lid all the time. It would be repression, which is very unhealthy. So I've learned to just express it in my head, not publicly and not too loud. And I've just told myself sometimes, okay, Eric, your ego wants to okay, let your ego talk. You want people to tell you you're so good. That's right, yeah? You like it when people tell you you're so good. Oh, yeah, I understand that. And I go like this, telling my ego, just reveal yourself. And once you do that, you'll see it's not very pretty. So humility shows up and has a lot to say afterwards.
Very nice. Eric, really, one thing that we've been enjoying is your honesty and your practical examples.
I feel I cannot hide anything. So
that's very, very, very lovely to see, the natural you. So there is this question, and it's a nice question. What is the interconnection between my beliefs and thoughts? And how can I change my beliefs?
That's a beautiful question. And, of course, I teach meditation, the Raja Yoga meditation. And the first session, often I start with something along this line, is we are what we think, and we think what we believe. So to me, belief systems in many different layers. There's religious beliefs, but there's also innate beliefs. There are also beliefs that have been passed on to me by my parents, by the society, beliefs that I've acquired based on my reading and being influenced by my hero because I don't have self-respect. Then, therefore, I value other people more than me. Therefore, I buy their belief systems. So there's a lot of layer in beliefs. And it's very complex, it's very fascinating, and it's crucial to look into it because our belief systems define our fingerprints. This is who I am, based on exactly my belief systems. So beliefs will express themselves in thoughts, no doubt, and consequently on feelings. So one of the thoughts I use in meditation is to say, are your belief systems allowing you to be the person you want to be? And if not, you might want to go and have the courage to attack your belief systems and to reconsider some of these belief systems. So I know it's hard because sometimes we believe in something and we don't want anyone to challenge our belief systems. One of the things I've learned, and it took me many years, was, oh, what if I'm wrong? You know, it sounds strange to say, it took me a long time to learn that, but it did. And I used to be very stubborn. You know, in a meeting, I would want to have the last point all the time. When I think I'm right, I'm convinced I'm right. And if I think this chair should be here because it looks nicer and the plant should be here, I'm convinced this is the way it should be. And anyone who tells differently, I think they're wrong. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not too much. Until one day you decide, well, maybe the chair somewhere else, maybe it's better. I don't know. Let's see. Let's give it a try. I surrender. I give up. I may return to that belief, but it won't be with stubbornness and blind faith. So belief systems is, do I like my belief to the point that I like what they make me into? And we always say in the philosophy of Raj Yoga that the belief systems are the scaffolding for what I'm really going to build within the scaffolding. And we haven't talked about it, you know, but the virus, of course, is a very deadly disease at the moment. But what about the viruses of the mind? If you look at the cathedral in Paris, Notre Dame, it was under renovation. And the sparkle happened in the scaffolding of the renovation, trying to improve the cathedral, and it almost killed it. In Buddhism, they say, if you see the Buddha, kill it. In other words, when you strongly believe and you're sure of something, pay attention. It may not be the reality. So but the willingness of dismantling our belief system, like a scaffolding, one day will have to go away. And what will I have built with that scaffolding? If my scaffolding is like this, and I want to build a cathedral like this, it's not going to work. And if my scaffolding is big like that, and I go with big ideas and big beliefs, and I'm building a little, you know, house for my dog, what's the point? So I find this is a very deep question and very interesting one, because the belief systems are the roots of my conscience. And I have to dig them out sometimes to check what are they and are they healthy. And from a belief systems, I prefer to go into a set of ideas that I understand and that I use consciously for the purpose of creating my reality. So there are beliefs, but I transfer them from belief systems to a set of information or ideas that I say I'm consciously using them, and I may be wrong. You know, that, you know, at the end, maybe I'll find out that we're all extraterrestrial beings and we all live on Venus, and we'll see each other in blue shape and we say, whoa, I didn't know that. I don't know. So beliefs have to be eaten carefully, paying attention to it.
Yeah. Actually, Eric, we have a few more questions, but I think we should, what do you think? I mean, shall we stop here so that you can give some meditation, or?
Sure. And I know anyway, there are always so many aspects connected to just this little angle of the mental diet. So yes, we can stop here. And I want to thank everyone for listening and staying online all this time. I know we're in Zoom land, and hopefully it doesn't make anyone into a zombie, right? So we should stay alert, and there's a limit to how much we can eat also when we listen. So I appreciate that, and happy to engage into a meditation commentary for a few minutes with you all, if you want.
Yeah, I just want to thank you really very much, because all the chats have, I mean, everyone on the chat has been really very much happy with the session, and they all enjoyed it very much. They've got a lot to, I think, digest now.
Now that will be digestion time. That could be another topic, my digesting tools.
I'm sure Aruna can arrange for another session. So yeah, we can start meditation. I'm just going to mute now. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You want me to share a few thoughts, or we just sit in silence for a few minutes?
Yeah. No, please, if you can share some thoughts, that would be good.
All right.
Thank you.
And we do what, 5 minutes? Or?
I think we have 15 minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
Eric, you can maybe just touch upon connecting with God at the end.
Sure. He's the big cook. So meditation is a very natural time that I take with myself. And I'm just going to share a conversation that I create with myself in the living room of my mind. I visualize myself entering the living room of my mind. I can even visualize two beautiful chairs. And I can bring whatever I want in the environment in the room. Flowers, light, water. I'm just going to sit with myself for a few moments. And I imagine in front of myself the reflection in the form of light. One part of me can talk, can think, and the other one becomes a beautiful being of light, listening. And I want to tell myself what I really feel. I begin my journey by recognizing this beautiful moment of peace that I've created in my living room, the living room of my mind. I want just to be feeling comfortable with myself, honest with myself, humble, but at the same time feeling the strength to reveal the most beautiful part of my mind, my heart, all the inner love, the inner kindness, great feelings of the heart that I can nurture in my heart and even share with the world. So I invite my mind to create beautiful thoughts that awaken the soul. And as soon as I create the thoughts, seeing the beauty of the soul, I see the reflection of myself in the form of light becoming brighter and brighter. And I see how my thoughts uplift myself, how my thoughts create incredible feelings, feeling so free, so light, just for these few moments. My mind is becoming so light. easy, simple thoughts. And I know that when the soul shines, when my mind becomes pure again, I attract a bigger light. And it's as if the living room of my mind is suddenly filled with light. And I know that light. I know it's a light that I've been searching for. A light that I've come to find again. A light that comes with me and touches the heart of the soul. Reawakens the memories, the ancient realities of the soul. Just like the meeting between a star and the sun. The soul and the Supreme Soul connect. And the living room of my mind is so beautiful, so vibrant. It is not just light, but it's a living light. The light of the soul. And that light can reach out to the whole world. I can spread that light like a lighthouse. It's such a benevolent light, a light filled with universal, unconditional love. It's a light of peace, filled with good wishes, pure feelings for everyone. It is a light that gives hope. It can touch the heart of those who are suffering, those who are in pain, in fear. It's a living light filled with so much strength that it creates hope, even in the darkest hearts. And I see in the beautiful living room of my mind this reflection of the self. Just looks like an angel, a beautiful being of light with a smile. And I know this is me. Deep within me, all that love, all that peace, radiating in the self, in the soul. So I just keep that image in my mind. The beautiful living room of my mind, in which I'm at peace, and from where I generate love from other world.
Thank you very much, Eric. Really grateful for your time, for your honesty, for your pure awareness, pure consciousness. It was an awesome seminar.
Well, thank you to everyone. Hopefully I brought a little shining chickpea on your plate to enjoy. And then wishing you well to each one of you. I know it's in different parts of the world, different times or so. And I sincerely extend all my good wishes to everyone to be in good health, safe, and be there for those who are in need as well. So, it's a long journey. And thank you very much for inviting me, Aruna, Mona, and thank you for listening, all of you, and your patience. So a lot of love from the heart and greetings from Montreal in spring, blooming with the nature, who is also supporting us at this time.
Thank you, Eric. And we have people literally from all over the world. We have Egypt. We had a group in Turkey that was getting translation. We have Trinidad. We have, of course, India, UK, Kuwait, all Middle East, of course. So Netherlands. So yeah, watch out for the fan club, Eric.
Next time I'll invite all my French speaking friends from France and
Egypt,
Quebec.
Italy. Now they're telling me Isle of Man.
Well, I know some of my
Greece,
some of my
Denmark,
friends are so in online, and I greet them all, and I greet you all. I feel the